Good day, everyone. Again, my name is Barry Halverson. I'm going to provide a video for you on swimmer's itch. There's been a lot of news coverage about swimmer's itch, particularly in Thurston County recently, just this last week in Long Lake and Clear Lake. So I thought it'd be appropriate to provide you some information on swimmer's itch, what causes it, how you can prevent it, and what you can do about it if you get it. This is kind of the agenda, answering questions mainly. We'll go through each of these. So what is it? Well, it's called cercarrial dermatitis. It appears as a rash caused by an allergic reaction to certain parasites that infect some birds and mammals. It's a microscopic parasite, and they're released from infected snails into fresh and salt water, such as lakes, ponds, and oceans. While the parasite's preferred host is the specific bird or mammal, if the parasite comes into contact with a swimmer, it burrows into the skin, causing an allergic reaction and a rash. It is found around the world and is more frequent during the summer months because that's primarily when we're swimming and wading and getting in the water. So I'm going to show you a quick video of the snails that we have here in Lake Lawrence. And if you have these similar type of snails in your water, then you probably have at least some potential to have swimmer's itch. I've done 5 rake throws down here at the Lake Lawrence Community Club swim beach. And out of those 5 rake throws, I've got 1 freshwater snail. In previous years, I would get 4 to 6 every time I threw the rake out in this area and brought it back in. You can see this is the kind of snail I'm talking about. It's a freshwater snail. And on the outside of that snail are some baby snails. And we get quite a few baby snails in the weeds right here. So there's baby snails out there that are going to grow into big snails. And the more feces you can remove from your water, the fewer snails there will be to feed on that feces and produce the parasites that cause swimmer's itch. Right there is a baby snail. Watch the rest of the video. Find out how to prevent it. So how does water become infested with this parasite? Well, the adult parasite lives in the blood of infected animals such as ducks, geese, gulls, swans, and certain aquatic mammals such as muskrats and beavers. The parasites produce eggs that are passed in the feces of the infected birds or mammals. In the eggs, if the eggs land in or are washed into the water, which commonly happens on our docks when we wash off our docks, the manure, the feces goes into the water. The eggs hatch, releasing small free-swimming larvae. These larvae swim in the water in search of a certain species of aquatic snail. If you have a lot of snails in your lake, then you have a better chance of having more of a problem with swimmer's itch. When the larvae finds one of these snails, they infect the snail, multiply and undergo further development. Infected snails release a different type of larvae into the water. This larval form then swims about searching for a suitable host, a bird, a muskrat, to infect, to continue the life cycle. Although humans are not suitable hosts, the larvae burrows into the swimmer's skin and may cause an allergic reaction and rash. Because these larvae cannot develop inside a human, they soon die. Let's talk about geese feces facts, because geese is a large waterfowl that produces a lot of manure that goes into the water and the snails eat it. Geese feces usually contain the parasites Cryptosporidium, Giardia, coliform, and Campylobacter. Cryptosporidium poses the most serious health hazard since it causes cryptosporidosis, an illness with the following symptoms: watery diarrhea and dehydration. An adult Canadian goose can excrete 1 to 1.5 pounds of feces a day. Here at Lake Lawrence, we expect that up until last year, 2022, we had between 200 and 250 resident adult Canadian geese on our lake. Taking the lower number of both pounds of feces, that would be 1 pound, times the lower number of geese, that'd be 200, that would equal 200 pounds of geese feces each day entering our water body. Since we are talking resident geese that don't fly south for the winter, that's 200 pounds a day times 365 days a year, or approximately 73 pounds of goose poop entering Lake Lawrence every year, or approximately 36.5 tons. As you just heard, the parasite that causes swimmer's itch lives in the blood of infected animals such as geese. Every year, migrating geese come into our lakes and then they get infected. This is one reason why the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that oversees migratory waterfowl, has a program to reduce the number of resident geese in water bodies to reduce the potential of infecting migrating geese. The reduction of the number of resident geese will reduce the quantity of feces deposited into our lakes, reduce the potential infection to migrating geese, reduce the incidence of swimmer's itch, and generally make our water bodies cleaner and healthier. What are the signs and symptoms of swimmer's itch? Well, you get a tingling, burning, or itching of the skin, small reddish pimples or small blisters, depending on how allergic you are to the infection that these microscopic parasites give you. Within minutes to days after swimming in contaminated water, you may experience tingling, burning, or itching. Small reddish pimples appear within 12 hours if you're really hyperallergenic, hyperallergic to this. Pimples may develop into small blisters. Scratching the areas may result in secondary bacterial infections, and itching may last up to a week or more, but will gradually go away. Do I need to see my health care provider for treatment? In most cases, no. If you have a rash, you may try the following for relief. Use corticosteroid cream. Apply cool compresses to the affected areas. Bathe in Epsom salts or baking soda. Soak in colloidal oatmeal baths or use of lotions such as Aveeno. Apply baking soda paste to the rash, made by stirring water into baking soda until it reaches a paste-like consistency. Similar to what you do if you get a bee sting. This works pretty well. You usually have it in your kitchen so you can make it up real quickly and put it on. Use an anti-itch lotion such as calamine lotion. You don't need to use all of these, just one or the other will work until you find out what works for you. Though difficult, try not to scratch. Scratching may cause the rash to become infected. If itching is severe, your healthcare provider may suggest prescription strength lotions or creams to lessen your symptoms, but that's usually not necessary. Swimmer's itch cannot be spread from person to person. No, it is not contagious. Who's at risk? Anyone who swims or wades in infested water. Larvae are more likely to be present in shallow water or by shorelines. Children are most often affected because they tend to swim, wade, and play in the shallow water more than adults. Also, they are less likely to towel dry themselves when leaving the water. Most of our swim areas have docks next to them. The geese get up on the docks, they poop on the docks, we wash off the docks, the feces goes into the water, the snails eat the feces, and the cycle just continues. So areas around docks are areas where a lot of geese are up on your property because you have a zero slope lawn. Your geese are going to come up on your lawn, they're going to poop on your lawn, the rain or your watering of your grass is going to push the feces into the water, and the snails are going to eat it, and it goes on and on. Once an outbreak of swimmer's itch has occurred in water, will the water always be unsafe? No. Many factors must be present, and those factors change all the time. There is no way to know how long water may be unsafe. For future snails, new snails, baby snails to become infected, migratory birds or mammals in the area must also be infected so the life cycle continues. Well, as I just told you, resident geese don't migrate, but they're infected. They stay in the area, so the cycle continues. That's why reducing the number of resident geese on a water body will have an immediate impact on swimmer's itch. What can be done to reduce the risk? Do not swim in areas where swimmer's itch is a known problem or where signs have been posted warning of unsafe water. Do not swim near or wade in marshy areas where snails are commonly found. A lot of people, instead of swimming on the beach or in the swim areas where docks are present, shallow areas, marshy areas, if they have a boat, which not everybody does, they go out in the middle of the lake. They post their boat by anchoring it in the middle of the lake, and they swim around their boat. Towel dry or shower immediately after leaving the water. Most swim areas have some type of water faucet or fountain, or some of them even have showers nearby that people can go up and get in and wash off. If you do that, you most likely will not get swimmer's itch. Don't attract birds to areas where people normally swim. Feeding them attracts them, and that's where they're going to be. They may not be there when people are there because the people will run them off, or dogs will run them off. But when people aren't there, they come up on that particular area and to pick up the seed or whatever it is you've thrown on the ground that they haven't got, and they eat it and they poop in the area and they cause more of the problem. So don't feed the geese or the waterfowl. Well, that's a quick presentation. Didn't take very long. Hopefully you paid attention and you can prevent swimmer's itch for your children and yourself. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our Lake Lawrence YouTube channel. And we hope you have a safe, wonderful season.